didn't think I was a man. I don't know. I didn't think I was allowed to be. I never met a man like me. Hello, good afternoon. It's Avery. If you've been here before, thank you for clicking back on. If this is the first time you're watching a video of mine, thank you so much for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. So let's jump into it. Today's the 1st of November. Huzzah, we made it. And today I wanted to talk about my name situation, because I know that in regard to me changing names, it was quite different than your typical trans person's experience, because I changed my name twice after first coming out. If you haven't watched my previous videos, then you don't know, but after I first came out as trans, my name was not Avery. I actually went by the name RV, letter R, letter V, yes, like recreational vehicle, for an entire year before changing it again. And I guess I just want to talk about my thought process. I've never met anyone who's done it like I've done it. So maybe there's someone out there who's like me, and maybe you can relate, or you can just learn something from hearing about me. Alright, so when I first came out as trans, I did not identify as a transgender male. I identified as non-binary transmasculine. And now I want to make it clear that when I first identified as that, and for the time period that I did, it wasn't really because that's how I truly felt. And I know I may have said that it was before, but looking back now, I recognize that deep down it wasn't. I didn't want to identify as a man because I didn't feel like I was qualified to be a man. Growing up, I didn't have the best male role models. I learned that to be a man was to be commanding and to be unaffectionate, and to be mean. And at this point in time when I was coming out, I didn't want to be like that, even though I felt physically like a man. I didn't feel like my personality could be that I was a man, and I thought that if I did identify as a man, that the qualities that I liked about myself, being compassionate, being a good listener, would go away. And it does. It sounds a bit silly now thinking back to it, but that's the way that I thought, and how I felt. And so I identified as non-binary transmasculine because physically I identified with the masculine body, but mentally I felt like I was both man and woman. And another reason why I felt like I couldn't fully identify as a man was because I didn't think I looked like a man. And that also had to do with why I changed my name to something gender neutral, because I didn't think that if I had a masculine name that I would be respected, or that I would be taken seriously. And it all kind of went together. So I had this entire year of still coming out to myself and figuring out my trans identity, while knowing that I was trans, knowing that I wasn't female, trying to find out what it is that I was. I hope this is making sense. So sometime after top surgery, my sophomore year, I was invited to be on a panel for this gender studies class. My friend invited me, and on this panel, there were 3 trans guys. There was one trans guy who was pre-everything, one of us who happened to be me. I was post-top surgery, but I hadn't started T yet. And then there was another trans guy who was post-top surgery and had been on T for multiple years. So there was a question asked, I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it was directed at the guy next to me who had been on T for a few years. And it was something about how he defined himself as a man and what it meant to be a man, or something like that. And like I said, I don't know all the context, I don't remember everything, but I remember him saying something about how he realized that to be a man didn't mean that you needed to have these negative qualities that we think that a man should have. what makes him a man is identifying as a man, and that's all that mattered. And that he realized he was allowed to be that way, and that was his life. I don't know. And I don't know, I just remember hearing that and like something clicked for me. Like it was like a total 180. I was like, this guy looks so masculine. He was in the army, and he was dealing with the same thing that I'm dealing with. Like he was having these same doubts and fears. And it was really after that moment where I really started to reevaluate how I identified and why I identified the way that I did. And that's when I realized that I didn't truly identify as non-binary, and I was really just holding back from identifying as a man because I didn't think I was a man. I don't know. I didn't think I was allowed to be. I never met a man like me. Okay, and so this leads me into changing my name again. It did not take long at all for me to realize this and then be like, I'm a man. Like, I'm a man. I'm a guy. And I can be however kind of guy I want. I'm a guy. Throughout that process, I realized that this name RV, I never truly connected with it. I realized that it was kind of just a placeholder for me to find a name that really does feel like my name, really does feel like it represents me and makes me feel good about myself. And I really appreciate and loved being called RV, but it did get old after a while, either just being made fun of because, RV, or people asking me what it stood for. And then I had to think of my dead name, and I don't want to think about that all the time. Ooh, my battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna make this quick. But so I changed my name to Avery after being RV for a year, and I don't regret a single thing about the process of my transition. I think it was completely necessary for me to go through those steps of learning what it really meant to be a man, which is, being a man is what you make of it. And yeah, that's my story, and I would really love to hear if anyone's experienced anything similar to this. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.